Good evening. At first at 6, surging resources to protect homes and livelihoods. We are talking about the massive statewide response to wildfires that continue to grow across our region, forcing hundreds to evacuate and threatening thousands more. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Let's give you a look at the big picture here with more than 150 active wildfires currently burning in Oregon, including this one, the Akawa Butte fire burning north of Sisters. Level 3 go now evacuation levels in red are in place with about half of the town, that's thousands by the way, under level 1. Be ready. Those areas in green.
Once again, we have live team coverage. Celine Stevens tracking a red flag warning in central Oregon and beyond.
But first to our Alma McCarty live at the incident command post near Sisters. Alma, that fire is being considered the #1 priority in the country. What are you seeing there right now?
Yes, like you said, Christine, this is an all hands on deck situation, according to the governor. And we have seen a lot more crews show up at Incident Command, not just folks from Oregon, but firefighters from beyond in other parts of the country, because it is such a big deal out here. You can certainly see the wind really blowing at this point. The governor knows, even though this is a top priority fire, that there are other fires that are burning in the state, and she wants to deploy resources strategically. Friday afternoon, the firefight continues on the lightning-caused Akawa Butte fire.
It is July. We're seeing fire conditions that we normally see in August.
Resources here, fire officials say, nearly doubling in response to the seriousness of this fire. They say 2 homes have been lost so far.
There are over 1,100 firefighters assigned to this fire. That's how big it is. And again, it is the highest priority fire in the nation right now.
Trained professionals that care a lot about what they're doing. They know the work that they're doing impacts people.
Overnight, crews worked to strengthen control lines, secured spot fires, and mopped up hotspots ahead of a forecasted red flag warning.
So what that means is hot temperatures, but increased winds.
There's a particular focus on the southern and southwestern flanks of the fire, not far from Sisters.
I think a lot of people knew it was going to be a tough season.
In town, some businesses were closed, while others, like Sisters Bakery, say they're taking it day by day.
We keep a really close eye on it. I think the firefighters and all the command teams are doing a spectacular job of keeping the town safe and doing everything they can.
There were plenty of people still out and about, though the threat of the fire still weighs heavy on this community.
I mean, it is concerning. There's such an uptick in the last couple of years of fires. You can't control lightning.
Right.
So that's the other hard thing is just trying to stay on top of it.
And the red flag warning that is in effect now, you can clearly see that with all of this wind. It's going to be in effect until Saturday night. And again, when it comes to the Akawa Butte fire, fire officials say that 2 homes have burned so far, but the Oregon State Fire Marshal says that statewide, that number is 15. David, Christine, back to you.
Hopefully that number holds. Alma McCarty reporting. Thank you, Alma. Let's go now to our Celine Stevens tracking the weather conditions.
Yeah, Celine, Alma mentioned it. Walk us through what's happening right now and when we might finally see some relief.
So for the most part, we're still continuing to see those red flag warnings in effect for a lot of eastern and central Oregon. And you'll see it right here on the map. Just look at how much red here is across the state. So again, those red flag warnings, like Alma mentioned, will expire tomorrow night, at least as of now. That's because we're dealing with those stronger wind speeds, low humidity, and hot temperatures in certain areas. Also, we have those air quality alerts for areas like La Grande and even further down in central Oregon because of all the smoke from those wildfires. So looking at the air quality, again, we have the alerts, certain areas like near Madras dealing with unhealthy for sensitive groups in terms of their air quality, and then other areas over to the east like near Pendleton even in the very unhealthy category. So that is not good at all, and again, all from that wildfire smoke that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks now at this point. And so also in terms of humidity, that's a big issue too. Obviously in the Portland area we're looking good, 37% humidity here, 46% in Aurora, but down in central Oregon and eastern Oregon, once you're in the low 20s, you're really in a dangerous spot, and you'll see 7% humidity in areas like John Day and in Burns, 23% in Bend. This has increased over the last hour and a half. Around an hour and a half ago, they're around 9% humidity. So of course, when you have that, that's just fuel for a fire. If one were to spark, it would spread rapidly. So hour by hour, we're going to see temperatures here at home get out of the 80s soon, 70s by around 9 p.m. Overnight lows will be in the 50s. As we get into tomorrow, 78 for the high. We're finally cooling off. Expect cloud coverage throughout the majority of the day. We get to Sunday, temperatures get up to the 80s. We get some cloud clearing by the afternoon, and all of next week is looking even better. I'll have more on the full forecast later.
That is great news. Thanks, Celine. Stay with KGW for ongoing coverage this wildfire season as dozens of blazes continue to burn. You can look for updates anytime in our article at kgw.com, updated with the latest on evacuations and progress toward containment.
New this evening, Oregon State Police and the FBI are investigating after 3 men allegedly posed as ICE agents in Clackamas County, then detained and assaulted a driver.
This is frightening. This was last Friday afternoon on Highway 211 east of Woodburn. Investigators say a driver pulled over for what appeared to be an unmarked vehicle flashing red and blue lights. They say 2 men, one armed with a rifle, claimed they were with ICE, forced the victim out of the car, searched them, held them in an SUV, assaulted them, and then released them. State police say the suspects drove a newer blue or gray SUV with no license plates and wore green shirts, face coverings, and tactical vests labeled police. On top of that, they say the victim started receiving suspicious texts from someone claiming to be with a law firm after reporting the incident to police.
And developing this evening, we've just learned of another possible measles exposure site.
That says the U.S. hits a milestone with the most measles cases in 35 years. Here's the new information. The Multnomah County Health Department says you may have been exposed if you were at the Legacy Go Health Urgent Care Clinic on Northeast Gleason and Gresham yesterday. That is Thursday, between 4 and 8 in the evening. You should contact your doctor if that applies to you.
And all this follows another potential exposure last weekend in Beaverton. Let's bring in our Jake Holter live at the trampoline park at the center of all this. Jake, what do we know?
Well, Christine, if you were here at the Sky Zone Beaverton last Saturday between the hours of noon and 3, health officials are urging you to contact your doctor as you may have been exposed to the measles. Now, the trampoline park is back open this afternoon after being closed all morning for a deep cleaning.
Now we're really disappointed because it got shut down, sadly.
A bunch of kids with plans to bounce at a Beaverton trampoline park Friday morning had their plans derailed by the measles. The Oregon Health Authority says Sky Zone Beaverton is the latest Oregon measles exposure site.
I was kind of shocked when I found out because at first I didn't really know, and then I talked to my mom. I told her about it and she told me what it was, and I was a little surprised. And I think it's a good choice to close it because I wouldn't want anyone else getting that disease.
A sign on the door informing guests of the closure. Sky Zone said in a statement that they are conducting a, quote, comprehensive deep cleaning of the park, adding that they are, quote, in close contact with local health authorities and are following their guidance.
It's kind of a bummer for the kids. I think especially being a member, it would be great if we would have had a text thing because now I have 4 broken hearts in my car. But yeah, I appreciate that they're closing and hopefully taking everyone's safety really seriously.
There have been 32 total measles cases reported in Oregon so far this year, according to the latest data from OHA's online dashboard. And the CDC reported on Friday that the U.S. has now seen the most measles cases in 35 years, surpassing last year's total with still 5 months to go. These rising numbers come as childhood vaccination rates continue to slide.
It's quite tragic.
Measles was officially declared eliminated in the U.S. in the year 2000, but health experts say that status is now in jeopardy, as World Health officials are set to meet in November.
Very much expect, I would be shocked if we did not lose our measles elimination status.
It's concerning, I think, to anyone who has kids of any school age, but I think being a nurse, I'm kind of aware that it's going on, and I feel well educated to keep my kids and my community as safe as I can with everything I can do in my power.
It's important to remember that people are considered contagious with the measles 4 days before a rash even appears, so that can be a lot of spaces infected before you even know you have it. Back to you.
Yeah, good reminder about that. And also, if you think you have it, don't go in immediately because it's so contagious. Call ahead. Thank you, Jake.
In your headlines, the Oregon Health Authority is reporting 2 people in the state have confirmed infections of cyclospora. That's the bacteria that's led to a nationwide outbreak because of contaminated lettuce. OHA says these 2 people traveled to other states that were involved In the national recall of pre-shredded lettuce, a cyclospore infection can lead to vomiting and diarrhea, sometimes lasting for weeks. OHA also says the risk to people locally remains low.
The lettuce did not come to Oregon. We know that for a fact. So eating vegetables is fine. Best practices is to wash your vegetables before you eat them. Really great idea. And obviously, if you're even more concerned about it, just in case, you can actually cook them at 158 degrees, and then they'll be safe because that will kill the parasite.
So far this year, 23 cases of that parasite have been reported in Oregon, which is on par with the last couple of years.
A former Oregon corrections officer was sentenced to life in prison today after a jury found him guilty of killing his brother. Alonzo Rowell shot his brother, Tony Miller, in November of 2024 at a home in Dallas, Oregon. He then drove to his former workplace, the Oregon State Penitentiary. That's where he was arrested after a short standoff with officers.
In Clark County, sheriff's deputies are investigating a stabbing where the victim ended up in the Vancouver Mall. That man called 911 Thursday evening, authorities say, from a store bathroom. Police say the victim, who should survive, told him he was stabbed at his apartment and then drove to the mall to hide. No word on a suspect or arrest, but police say it does not appear this was random and there is no ongoing threat to the community.
The city of Portland's been ordered to pay a family more than $700,000 after refusing to let them cut down a tree that later fell on their home. A jury ruled in favor of the homeowners today. The family says they tried to get a permit to remove a leaning Douglas fir on their Southwest Portland property, but the city denied the application, saying there were no serious defects in the tree. Fast forward 2 years later, during the January 2024 ice storm, and the tree fell onto their home.